Hello, nerds for Yang.
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds.
Hello, nerds!
Now with this campaign, bang, dang, is and true. Come roll with the Yang Gang.
Hello, nerds. I got Jose here.
Hello, nerds! Let's go!
Woo!
Excited! I've been
All
looking
right.
forward to doing that for a while now.
We got the Latinos for Yang in the house.
Oh, she's cool. She's cool people.
So, Jose, tell me a little bit about for those who are watching this who are like, hey, I don't know who Jose is. Tell me a little about yourself, man.
I'm a 22-year-old from Queens, New York. I'm Dominican American. I'm Latino. I'm Yang Gang. I started the Latino for Yang's page a while back. I saw that we didn't have like a hub Twitter page, so I wanted to do something, contribute social media wise, and yeah, I'm
Yeah. So you're from Queens. Is AOC from Queens, or where's she from?
AOC is she's from the Bronx, but she is our she's my congresswoman. She's my district's congresswoman.
Right,
yeah.
right. So she's in you're in her district, but she grew up in the Bronx. Got it.
Yeah, her district, the district we're in covers like northwest Queens and like South Bronx. So
Yeah. So Donald Trump comes from the Queens, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's a while away from me though. He's like on the other side, but
Does he ever, or like, does he have any people there? Or does he ever come back, or is he always just doing his own thing now?
I remember a while back I was curious and I was like kind of like looking into his biography because I knew he was from Queens, and he actually like spent like apparently when he was younger, I don't know for sure, I remember like he would like sneak off to Manhattan like a lot, so it doesn't sound like he liked it here much.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it seems like he's always been eager to be accepted by the Manhattan crowd.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like that's where a lot is going on. So
Yeah.
his dad had owned real estate in Queens and Brooklyn, and I remember I was watching a documentary on Trump, and apparently his father was telling him not to get into all of that, but Trump wanted to go out of Manhattan. He wanted to aim higher.
Right.
So, yeah.
Spread his wings.
Yeah, he wanted
And
to spread his wings.
now he's in the freaking White House. Can you believe that shit? Only in America. Only in America.
Trump it's actually really funny. Like this guy's life is so funny. It's like this guy has like a cheat code, like.
I don't know how he does it. Yeah. But so Jose, tell me a little bit about. So you're in your early 20s. So are you? I guess you were too young to vote in the last election, or did you?
I graduated high school in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2016, I was already in my first year of college.
Uh-huh.
I was for Bernie at the time, but I was an independent. So, and in New York, I couldn't vote for him in the Democratic primary. So then, and then Hillary won, and then I was kind of like, well, New York is gonna be blue anyways. So I didn't vote in the presidential election.
You know what? Had you switched parties and registered as a Democrat and voted in the primaries, who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know at the time. Like,
yeah.
Honestly,
so did you switch now? Did you?
Yeah. I'm a registered Democrat now.
All right. We can't have this happen again, man.
No. That's not. I'm not gonna let it happen. Yeah. I'm definitely. Yeah, they sent me a lot of mail.
Oh yeah. So, they got you now. Okay, they got your email address. Yeah, I got those.
They got
too.
everything.
So, like, tell me a little bit about your discovery of Yang. Like, how were you originally kind of thinking Bernie again, or how did that evolve?
Yeah, when everybody was announcing their candidacy, I was like, I mean, like, initially, right? I was never like a heavy Bernie supporter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I heard he was running again. I was like, okay, I might vote for Bernie. I like a lot of hip hop, and I always tune into the Breakfast Club. And then and how they were having a lot of candidates over, and so I saw Andrew Yang. I was like, oh, there's an Asian guy running. Let me see. I never heard of this guy before. Clicked it, watched this video, and was kind of like, I don't know. I feel like the UBI took me back at first, and then he explained it well, and then after, of course, I really liked his approach to other things as well, and then after that, I just went into the rabbit hole, and and yeah, I've been yanked ever since.
So before you saw that Breakfast Club interview, were you kind of lightly leaning in Bernie's direction, or who else were you kind of thinking about?
No, I was just lightly leaning into Bernie because it was still early on, so
yeah.
I didn't even, I clicked Yang because I wanted to check out the other candidates, see who else was running. So yeah, and then that's pretty much how that went. I wasn't heavy into Bernie, but I liked him.
So was it once you watched that Breakfast Club interview and then started researching Yang, it was like, how long did it take for you to be like, no, that's my guy?
I would have to say like 2 interviews in. I watched the Breakfast Club, then right after, I think I saw the Joe Rogan one, and then I watched something after, and then I watched something else after. I was like, yo, this guy's like really like fucking smart. You know what I mean? Like, and he explains, and UBI is like a big thing to tackle. Like no one's talked at the time. Nobody was talking about it. And it just, I just sat back and thought like $1,000 every month for everybody. Like I just thought about the impact, and he described not just the impact it would have on everyday people's lives, but also why now more than ever it's needed. So yeah, it's a pretty amazing guy, and I'm glad to have you as part of the coalition. I want to say hi to some people who have just joined us early. Yeah, so we got Gianni. Do you know any of these guys? You know Gianni? Don't think so. I feel like the only Yangers I really talk to are like, because I'm in like a Latinos Yang like group chat. We have a group chat, and there's like 30 of us. So I really just talk to them.
That's fine. Well, I wanted to say hi to Quap. We've got Pearson, Sonic Prop again.
Sonic Prop. 2 of them.
Sue Myung Perez and Cardin.
What's going on, guys?
Cardin's a fellow creator. What's up, Cardin? Get back to work, bro. Pastors for Yang. I love the coalition, man. We got everybody. Everybody's for Yang.
Yeah, there's so many like 4 Yang pages now. It's great. It's great for sure. It's really great.
How did you go from I'm backing this guy to like, oh, I'm gonna start a Twitter account, and I'm gonna make a Latinos for Yang thing?
I was getting like pretty it's funny because I would watch like a new interview of his, right? Because I was getting like really into it. I was getting really interested, right? And I felt like, I feel like I could answer, like I could speak on behalf for Like I knew like his answers to everything, because people, so it's a new interview, it's a new show, so they're asking a lot of the same questions. I'm like, I already know all these answers.
Yeah, you've watched enough interviews, it like you can almost do it by heart.
Yeah, exactly. And and I was seeing a lot of like stuff, like Bernie, he was getting like endorsements from Latino-esque like organizations and stuff, and I saw how he was doing with them, and I was like, and I felt like Yang. Personally, I feel like it would do a lot more for us. I feel like it would be a lot more beneficial if he was in office. And I didn't, and like I said, like on Twitter, I didn't see a Latinos for Yang, Hispanics for Yang page. So I just made one myself, and I mean, now there are a lot of other great pages like mine. There's another one, Latinx for Yang. There's Latinas for Yang. There's the people at Yang Gang Translations. They're doing phenomenal work. They have a website up completely in Spanish. Like this like mirrors his own campaign site. It's great. Like,
nice. Yeah, I'm actually investing in having a Spanish version of my interview of Andrew with like Spanish audio. And hopefully I'm going to have that out for the first interview. Should be out like in a few weeks. That'll be fantastic. That's like we need a lot more like content in Spanish. Like my dad, he's
he's an immigrant.
Yeah.
He's voted every election. So he's pretty like involved in it. And I yanked him, but it would have been a lot easier if like he had like he could speak English, but it's not like the best.
Right.
It'll go a long way if he could get the content in Spanish and really like.
Well, I'm gonna when I have that video ready, I'll make sure I tag you on Twitter.
Yo, let me know.
So it's not gonna be subtitles. It's gonna be like real voice actors.
I know, that's great. I love that.
You're gonna hear the first Spanish speaking Andrew Yang, and his mouth will be moving. It'll be great, man.
That'd be great. Fantastic.
It's funny that you mentioned the DR. One of my best friends lived in the DR for a few years. And I visited, had a great time. Yeah, small world, huh?
Yeah, I'm happy to hear. Yeah. There's a lot of us on the East Coast. You're definitely gonna run into.
Yeah. He was telling me he was just telling me the other day that there's a lot of Dominicans that run supermarkets and grocery stores and stuff.
Yeah,
Is that true?
Yeah. Especially like the little bodegas, like the corner stores that we have here in New York.
Yeah, you guys are working hard, man. I appreciate it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
So what is it? Let me share with you a chart.
Okay.
Let me share with you a chart. I want to show you.
That's what this channel's about, man.
That's what, I mean, how we can't not share a chart. So here, let me show you. This is from the latest YouGov poll from October 20 to 22nd.
Okay.
And it asks creators, if the caucus were held today, who would you vote for? Right?
Okay.
This
is where?
National.
Oh, this is national. Oh, wow.
National. So first choice, right? Who's your first choice? Now, if you look at the people who say Biden is their first choice, you see Biden has more 37% Black, 24% Hispanic, 21% white, 5% other. Now, if you look at Yang, right here, look at this. 7% Hispanic, 1% Black, 2% white. So meaning 1 out of every 13 Hispanics in America are supporting Yang, but only 1 out of every 100 Blacks are supporting Yang, and only 1 out of every 50 whites are supporting Yang. And so I'm wondering, wow, that's freaking amazing. If you look at Hispanics, let's see who's got more than 7% in Hispanics. Biden, Warren, Sanders. We are number 4 for Hispanics. More than Buttigieg, more than Harris. Oh,
that makes sense.
Beto. Whoa. Sorry, we're number 5. Beto has 8%. Are you surprised by that?
He's in Texas. Texas, they love him down there. So I'm not surprised with that.
They love him down there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So we're number 5 for Hispanics, and we're doing way better with Hispanics than we are with Black voters and white voters. I'm wondering, what do you think that's all about?
I mean, of course, Hispanic voters are very diverse. You know what I mean? You'll find some pretty far right leaning Hispanics for sure.
My brother has some Cuban friends. They're hardcore.
I'm not I know, trust me. Cubans is, but I feel like for the most part though, I feel like when Hispanics are liberal, they tend to be a lot more progressive. So seeing Sanders, Warren, and Yang have a lock on those numbers is not surprising. And of course, Biden just has name recognition. So, but I feel like when we do vote Democrat, we tend to lean towards more progressive candidates. So which makes sense. I feel like because the more progressive wing of the Democratic Party is definitely been focusing on minority issues a lot.
So I have a theory. I would want to get your temperature read. One thing that I really appreciate about Yang is he has repeatedly said, Trump kind of blames a lot of problems on immigrants. In terms of people losing their jobs. And the reality is it's not the immigrants' fault. It's automation. It's just sort of like technology is happening.
Yeah.
And that's and it's not even international trade. It's just automation. And I kind of feel like, oh yeah, if I were Hispanic, I would be like, hell yeah, like I'm tired of being blamed for shit that I didn't do, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that's part of it, or do you think it's something else that's attracting some Hispanics to Yang?
That specifically goes an extremely long way, when you point that out, because we know, we're not, like, especially in a lot of these neighborhoods, there's not a lot of us in the South or in the Midwest, to even be like taking most of these jobs, and we tend to, like, a lot of immigrants tend to do the jobs that Americans don't want to do.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And a lot of immigrants, but like you said, like you pointed out, like here in New York, they start their own businesses a lot of times rather than, like steal other people's jobs too. And we know that. And, when he points that out, it really does go a long way, because not only does he say it's not us, but he also gives a reason. Like he says it's not us, and he gives like an other target. It's like, it's the automation. He shows what it really is too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting with minority and immigrant kind of history. As you may know, like for many years, Chinese Americans were doing in the early days laundry, and then later restaurants, and then even before laundry, railroad work that like nobody would do, and so it is interesting that people are like, wow, the immigrants. It's like, no, they even if they wanted your fancy job at a Ford motor plant, like they're not going to walk across the border and get hired by Chrysler overnight. Like that's just not even possible. So
it doesn't work.
Yeah. In fact, even for the do you remember there was an ICE raid of a factory, like a chicken processing factory? I mean, that's a really tough job as well.
Yeah.
And, that's an example where it's like, are we saying all these angry sort of Trump supporters, like, do you guys want that job? Like, that's a really rough job.
I saw a report. It was on Vice, I think, where here in New York, they went upstate, and there's like an ICE facility upstate because it's near like the Canadian border. But, instead of like rounding up like illegals coming from Canada, they've been rounding up immigrants working at farms upstate.
Yeah.
And they even went and they would go up to like I don't know what it's called, but it's like that place you go to look for jobs, and then like and they will stop like people going in. They're like, oh, the people at the farm, they're actually looking for work. It's like, what time does it start? Oh, it's from like 10 p.m. to like 7 a.m. or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, no, I'm good. Like even if you're even the Americans born and raised that are looking for jobs, they won't even fucking do it. Even if you're looking for a job, even if you really need a job, they're like, nah, I'll pass. I'll look for another job.
Yeah, I think it was widely reported that the Mar-a-Lago and a lot of the Trump resorts hire seasonal workers because they weren't able to get native-born Americans that are willing to do the house cleaning and the landscaping and stuff on the Trump properties.
Yeah.
So, it's sad that people are blaming like immigrants for so many problems when in reality it's something else. I noticed something else when I was looking at the data with you. Let me show you that chart one more time. I would love to get your thoughts on this one. Share. So when you look at the white, black, Hispanic, if you look at other, he's actually so it's all the way here on the right hand side, 24%. So number one would be Warren, but then tied for two are Yang and Gabbard. I'm guessing that's probably because of the Asian voter, but that's kind of interesting that he is tied for second with the non-white, non-black, non-Hispanic. You gotta take your wins when you can get them, right?
Yeah, I mean that says something for sure.
Yeah. And Tulsi being strong with what do you think of Tulsi? What are your thoughts there?
I don't know. I'm kind of like mixed on Tulsi. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, go ahead, break it down. What do you think?
I don't know that much about her, you know, and I just see
Mhm.
like headlines left and right. There are a lot of Yang Gang that really like mess with her, you know, and there's like you know, we have like a good unity with the with her gang.
Right? Oh, were you
Yeah.
saying there's Yang Gang that don't like her?
No. I mean, not that I know of.
Oh.
I'm just I don't know much about Tulsi actually, so
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of overlap, that a lot of Yang supporters are open to Tulsi and at least
yeah,
like respect that she's an independent voice, or appears to be
yeah,
an independent voice. Um, I actually really like how she comes across in terms of when like her public speaking and the confidence and the strength, and I appreciate that she's served,
yeah.
you know, and has a very kind of peace, anti-endless war approach. Like that's all compelling for me. It was weird when Hillary like went after her. It's like, what do you?
I mean
It's just so
that
strange.
I mean that I feel like that was definitely her. Um, you know, because I remember 20 was it 2015, 2016, like that election that
Hmm.
Tulsi was kind of, you know, they were kind of grooming her to be like the next, you know what I mean, like she was kind of like on their side, and then you know, Tulsi kind of
Yeah.
saw a lot of what was going on, you know, like left that, endorsed Bernie, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that
Oh,
Clinton kind of
so
took shots.
yeah. So you think that she burned some bridges when she went and supported Bernie instead
For
of
sure,
Hillary?
of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Well,
not. Yeah.
politics, man. They're
No, that's what
hardcore.
it is. Yeah, I mean, it's politics. You know, I mean, I'm not. You know, everybody picks sides.
So what's the vibe like in New York? Are you seeing like decent interest in Yang from your friends, and like how's that coming along?
A lot of my close friends, I feel like I kind of got them on the Yang train. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like a lot of like my not my closest friends. You know, like just like my friends like on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. Like, I feel like I got them interested. A lot of them are like for Bernie and Warren. I see a lot of that, but you know, I've definitely got into some Instagram arguments over UBI and and the like. But
Yeah. So like, let me ask you this: when you talk to your friends in real life,
yeah,
who are either undecided or they're for Bernie or Biden,
hmm,
like what's their biggest objection when you're like, hey man, you should think about Yang? Like what do they say?
I think it mostly has to do uh you know, them just needing to be sold on UBI. The inexperience comes up sometimes, like his political inexperience, you know, like in office,
Mm-hmm.
that comes up. um yeah, those are probably like the two biggest things. 'Cause, like I remember my friend, the one of my friends, you know, I was telling him about Yang, whatever, right? And he told me, you know, I'll check him out. And then like I think like 2 weeks later, you know, he just DM'd me on Instagram. He's like, "Yo, I'm voting for Yang." I'm like, "Oh, what happened? You know, what's the change of heart?" And he told me how he saw him on the H3 podcast. You know, so you know,
Yeah.
I'm glad Yang is doing a lot of those YouTube podcasts. You know, he's going
Yeah.
on everybody's thing, because that it really does like push people over the edge. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it does a lot.
You know, I would love if we had enough money to
Hmm.
buy like a giant block of primetime TV and just replay like the Rogan interview. Like seriously, or even clips of it, like 10, 15 minute
Yeah.
clips. Like everyone, oh, not everyone, but almost everyone I've talked to at
Hmm.
some point in their Yang story, they watch a long form interview. It's not
Yeah.
that rarely do I see people who say, "Oh, I saw him at the debates," or "I saw him, you know, on primetime on some mainstream media." It's usually like maybe that's where they start hearing about him, and then they go on YouTube and
Yeah.
do a little research. And I
Yeah.
guess, you know, actually, I wonder if Yang will start. You know what you should probably do? You should probably advertise on YouTube and push some of that content to people who won't normally get it recommended to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The
Because it's so effective.
he just did a recent interview on NPR that I thought was really great. It was a lot
Yeah.
more. Did you see his one with the two undecided voters?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I
In
thought.
like a restaurant in New York.
Yeah. I thought
And
that
he
was.
like rode up in his bike with his
I,
helmet.
I thought that one was great. Because early on, when Yang was coming out, that's when a whole bunch of the like regressive tax complaints came up, and the stuff with why they have to give up food stamps, and
Right.
all those things. It was coming a lot from like the Sanders Warren camps too. That's where we would get most of those complaints from. And I could tell like that the guy, he was an undecided voter, but I could tell he was kind of leaning more towards, because he brought up the wealth tax too, and I'm glad. I'm glad that someone that Yang had the chance to sit down, take all of those, Sanders and Warren camp complaints head on, and what I mean, and really explain himself on that. I thought that was great too. Because a lot of people will tell me that too when I try to talk to them. They're like, yeah, but isn't a VAT tax regressive because like how I mean, because it is a regressive tax, but when you pair it with UBI and you exclude consumer good items, like how it's not.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if I were lower income and they said, "Hey, I'm gonna slap a VAT on all the stuff you buy, but I'll give you $1,000 a month," I would be like, "Well, I don't buy that much stuff." So, if a 10% ish VAT is not going to be a game changer.
And it's not even all. It's not even all the welfare programs that get taken away. It's just you still keep disability, Social Security.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and I'm just thinking about like my family. Who are on food stamps and unemployment. I'm pretty sure they'll give away like fuck my food stamps. I still get to keep my unemployment and my $1,000 a month, or what I mean, like that'll go a long way. It'll go a lot further. For them to get back on their feet and actually like just to have that floor there. You know what I mean? Because it's hard when you're just on when you're on these welfare programs, because it kind of like keeps you in a trap. It's so hard to elevate. You know what I mean? Like it really
well, I mean, unemployment's a really interesting one in that it kind of has a strange disincentive to work, because like, well, if you go and get a crappy job and it sucks and you're mistreated, then in some ways you might have been better off staying on unemployment. Whereas with that,
that's the thing, and what was I gonna say? But yeah, you're like hitting it like right on the head. That's exactly.
Yeah. So like
that's what I was gonna say, and not even everybody who needs it doesn't get it either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's another thing too. Like, same thing with food stamps. Not everybody gets it when they need it.
And then you also have like some people who get those things may not actually need it. So I love the whole universal, like everybody's going to get a new floor. Everybody's going to get help.
That's the beauty of it.
Then it's like, oh, great. Then there's none of this like, well, that's not fair. Why does so-and-so get it and I don't get it, and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's interesting. What are other than UBI, are there other issues that you think Latino voters are kind of fired up about that are important, that are different than, I don't know, any other group? Or do you think it's pretty much the same stuff?
What else was really good? I mean the legalizing marijuana stuff was great. That'll go a long way. The pathway to citizenship for all immigrants. That's fantastic. Right. That's extremely needed.
Yeah.
But yeah. What else? The making Puerto Rico a state I thought was great.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: in the early debates, there were these raise your hand if questions, and I was curious because there was a lot of actually, even me as a moderate, I was like, whoa, I'm not sure that makes sense. Like it gave the impression that they were saying like, hey, for undocumented immigrants, do you think they should have access to free healthcare? And part of me is like, well, I'm not sure I'm down with that, because like we can't afford healthcare for the people that are here now. I don't know if we want to just have like kind of all you can get for free kind of thing. I was
Yeah.
curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I was definitely taken aback, and I could tell like other candidates, like that thought never crossed their mind. You know, when that question was asked, they were all like, you know, and I thought to myself, like, this is something you need to like really think about. I mean, you bring up a point, right? We can't, you know, we're hardly, you know, we're doing a shit job right now as it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, but I'm pretty sure if we, you know, if we change that, we fix, you know, the healthcare system, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to. But it's not even if we're able to. It's kind of like a question of if we should.
Like a fairness thing too, right?
You know, I mean, I want to think that, you know, if Yang does become president, right? You know, or even some other candidates, I'm sure like a similar thing would happen. You know, I'm sure there would be some type of pathway to citizenship where these people would eventually get it anyways. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's
like let's take an extreme example.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a case that undocumented workers in the U.S. should be eligible for the freedom dividend?
No. I think it should definitely be a right of citizenship. I feel like that's, I don't think
okay.
anybody...
So that was a very clear no for you, but
yeah.
Free healthcare, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like when it comes to the freedom dividend, I know enough about it, you know, whereas like the Medicare for All plan, I'm not, you know, I don't know how that's gonna work. I don't know how, you know, that's gonna get paid for. I don't know how you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so that's definitely something that I would, I mean, it's not a hard no for me, you know what I mean? But it's not like a hard yes for me either. It's something that I would definitely need to look into. But
my view is like we got to get healthcare working for everyone that's here, and then of those that are here, we should start with citizens. Now that doesn't mean if someone's an undocumented worker and they're actually like contributing to the economy and they're actually helping some company, some business, like they are.
I know a lot of undocumented workers. You know, like these aren't. I don't know one undocumented like I don't know one undocumented immigrant who just sits on their ass all day.
No, yeah, it makes sense. So
you know
I believe that they should be eligible for like maybe some basic level of like certainly emergency room and maybe even some, you know, some basic tier of healthcare. But I think for the full coverage, I think that should be just for citizens, at least until we can find a way.
I mean,
to balance the budget for these kinds.
Yeah, you know, we can't have people just dying on our streets. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like if an illegal immigrant, I said it, people don't like when I say it, I just say that casually. If an undocumented immigrant, I got attacked on Twitter the other day for saying, but
well, I mean, technically it is not a legal immigration process that they're using. So, I mean, you use whatever term you want. Yeah.
But what was I saying?
We were talking about healthcare and how there maybe should be a basic tier for, because you're saying people can't die on the streets kind of thing. Yeah.
Like if an undocumented immigrant is working and, you know, especially like the jobs that they do is hard work, you know, God forbid, you know, they, you know, like something happens to get injured. You can't just, you know, like, well, I guess we're done with you. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not, it's just immoral. You know what I mean? Like my thing with the healthcare is, you know, like including undocumented immigrants is like, can we do that? Like, you know, would it not put a strain on us to do that? And, you know, how far are we going to go to, you know, like in coverage, like how far are we going to go? But I think it's definitely immoral to just let, you know, it's people who contribute to our society, you know, just die off, you know, like get injured, sick, and that's it.
Well, here's the thing, not in my opinion, not only are these undocumented workers humans that have rights, and there's just a basic level of decency that we as a society should have. But not only are they, to your point, working hard and taking a lot of performing a lot of jobs that most Americans don't want. Probably 99% Americans would never touch. But on top of that, we as Americans our lifestyle is subsidized by these undocumented workers, because when you go to the grocery store and you're buying your produce or you're buying your meat or whatever, there's a good chance that there are some dudes in a field that picked that stuff, and they were not getting minimum wage. They were not getting like, breaks,
No.
and their bosses were probably like paying them as little as possible. And what results is like, well, then we go and we get to buy like a hamburger that for like $2, and we're like, oh my God, that's such a good deal. Well, that's subsidized by a whole economic chain of exploited labor.
Yeah, that's literally everything. There's a lot that we benefit a lot from it.
Oh, I mean,
Um,
as a thought exercise, when you sit in a restaurant and you're eating this like $5 burger, I bet you there's a chance that maybe even in the kitchen there are some undocumented workers, right?
that's all the restaurants I eat at.
Right? And they're not making no $15 an hour. They're not getting no Medicaid, Medicare, like they don't have no Social Security. They're getting paid probably in cash, and they're getting paid probably shit, And then if you go back the food chain, okay, now what about the truck the delivery guy that brought the supplies to the restaurant? I don't know, might be also undocumented. And then you go to the warehouse, and then you go back to the processing plant, and then you go back to the fields, right? Like, so we as Americans, like, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't have this extremely subsidized lifestyle where you just consume, and get on your high horse and talk about how you're anti-immigration. Like, well, then, and I know this for a fact, because I live right now in Switzerland, where they are hardcore on immigration, and there are no undocumented workers here. Like, every worker is extremely documented. Like, I got to check in like like twice a year with the local government office saying like, I'm still living here, I'm still doing this job, blah, blah, blah. But what results is those Swiss workers, they get paid living wages. And then when you go to a restaurant and you want a burger, guess what? It's like $25. And the reason is that's how much it costs when you pay people regular wages. So anyway, I get fired up about this topic because I feel like we as Americans like have this culture of consumption. Where we want tons of stuff. Like the same thing for international trade. Like, you can't be so pissed about China and then still expect to get your big screen TV at Walmart for like $500. Like, come on, that didn't come from American workers. That came from some exploited Chinese dude in some factory that's working like 30 days a month.
Yeah, and then they complain that they want American workers to do it.
Yeah, so it's kind of nuts. But what are some hot topics on the campaign that you're thinking about? Are you fired up about anything? Are you excited? Are you concerned? How are you thinking we're doing so far?
I think I want us to be doing better. The last debate I saw, and we got some more speaking time, and I think he did a good job of of separating himself, with the wealth tax, and and like the whole UBI was finally like something that people had a comment on, and he was able to separate himself from Sanders on that front, and Warren with the whole Social Security as UBI thing was it was kind of funny, but I think we're doing okay. I want us to be doing a little better, 'cause like Harris is not doing that well, so I want us to top her soon. You know what I mean?
She seems vulnerable. She seems vulnerable. She seems like she's peaked.
Yeah, I kind of saw this coming, to be honest. I just feel like the way she's kind of like, when it comes to like policy, you have Buttigieg and Biden that's kind of like on that side of the spectrum, and she just doesn't talk as like eloquently as Pete does. And I mean, I feel like Pete is like what every liberal like moderate Democrat like wants. Oh, we got like a gay smart guy who can speak 4 different languages, and you know what I mean? Like he's like a fits that perfectly. Yeah, she hasn't been doing too well. So I think we have a chance to. We topped her in her own state. I mean, at least in the Emerson poll,
Yeah,
We just
yeah,
did
yeah.
that.
No, I agree with you. I think Harris is, it's just a matter of time. Like she's not trending in the right direction.
No, she's not.
And this is one of those games where, like, honestly, if you're not growing, you're kind of dying, and if you're dying, you're dead. You know what I mean? So Harris, I think if we look at her charts, she's kind of not trending in the right direction. I will agree with you that what is a little bit concerning is the Yang Gang is kind of flat-ish. Like we're still struggling to break 5%, right?
Yeah.
And actually, with the new debate requirements for the next
4%,
debate
right.
for the December, we're going to have to hit 4 in multiple polls. So let me just show you. I do have one piece of good news for everybody because this just came out.
I think 4% is doable though.
Yeah. And here, check this out.
Still
In South Carolina, we hit 4 ahead of. You know what's surprising? Klobuchar is like back from the dead. I thought she was going to be gone by now, but we're ahead of Klobuchar, ahead of Booker, but then behind the usual suspects, basically. Oh, Steyer's at 5. You see that? That guy's dropping money. That's what happens when you get the money.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if we kind of had that budget. I wonder how well we'd be doing.
Oh my God! If we had the Steyer budget, we'd be at least in 3rd place. We would basically, it would be like, we would at least be in 3rd place. Like we would be probably around where Buttigieg is, probably, and maybe even ahead of Buttigieg, like maybe at 12 or 11 or something like that. But yeah, Buttigieg, he's hanging around, and he's doing pretty good. He's actually ahead of Harris in a lot of polls now.
Yeah.
So he's passing her. So she's definitely, what color is she? She's the orange one. Yeah, that's not a trend you'd want to see. This downward looking thing.
What was it? It was after the first debate. She had that spike.
Oh, that big old spike. Yeah, that was her peak, right? That was, let's see if we go here, 6-month view.
Yeah, she was like hitting double digits, I think.
Her peak was around 15, at least in the last 6 months. Yeah. And now she went from 15 to 5. And so, in fairness, around that time when she was 15, we were at 1.1. And now we're 2.5. So, we're definitely going up and she's going down, but we need to go up a little more than 2.5.
Yeah, we need to speed that up a bit.
Yeah.
I think we're making good progress, but
South Carolina, you gotta feel good about the 4. I mean, God, if we had another one in South Carolina where we're like 1 and 2, those are just really hard to read. We were 1 in South Carolina, actually in the Monmouth poll, and then the one before that we were 2 in the Monmouth poll, and then 1 on the CBS YouGov one. So this Post and Courier one is very encouraging. And then while you're here, let's take a look at Iowa.
All right.
Iowa, only 2, right? Tied with Gabbard and 1 behind Harris. 1 behind freaking Steyer with the money bags, man.
I don't think Steyer's gonna last long though.
The thing is, he has so much money. He could just self-fund as it's like if you're a billionaire for him. I think this is kind of like a fun thing for him.
I really wonder how far that's gonna take him.
Right. That's true. Like I would love to talk to a Steyer supporter and be like, what is it why do you like this guy so much? Look at this, New Hampshire. That's a tough one to read. 1. We were 5 in the YouGov poll. These are noisy polls. So I wouldn't read into the 1 versus 5, but it's clearly we're not doing in the 20s, and that's where we, I would like to be in this Buttigieg range. That would make me really happy. And Nevada, let's see, Nevada 3, okay. 1 behind Steyer, 1 behind Buttigieg. Actually, very close to Nevada may be kind of an opportunity for us because it doesn't seem like Harris and Buttigieg are as kind of locked in there. You know, they're only at 5 and 4, and we're at 3. I mean, shit, we're basically all fighting now. We're all in the same league then.
Yeah, I saw something that Buttigieg, he had a lot of offices in Iowa. Like it seems like he's putting like that's where he's putting his chips at.
Yeah, he's got like dozens, and I think for a while we had like 1 or 2, and now we have 6 or something. But yeah. So, what's your prediction on? Let's talk about running mates.
Yeah.
Number one, let's talk. Let me ask you this: if I know, I get people get really pissed at me when I ask this question because they're like, "What? You have to assume he's going to win." Okay, but let's say in a world where he doesn't win.
Yeah.
But he could be somebody else's VP.
I see that, to be honest.
Now there are some people who would say, "F that, it's the top job or nothing." I personally am like, "Look, man, this guy came out of nowhere and he's VP. That's pretty awesome."
I would. If not president, I definitely want him involved doing something. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it'll say a lot about the administration if Yang is able to, you know, have a spot.
So who would you want him? Who would you want to be on the top of the ticket? If Yang were going to be VP, who would you want him to be paired with?
I mean, personally, you know, like I usually tend to lean more progressive, so probably like a Warren or Sanders type candidate. I'd be pretty excited about a more moderate ticket too, to be honest.
So that would be a Biden then.
Yeah, even if Biden was the president and his running mate was Yang, I still think that would be pretty decent ticket.
If Yang teamed up with Biden, and because Biden's a moderate, maybe they do like a little mini freedom dividend. Maybe it wouldn't be the full 1,000. It would still be progress, right?
I honestly feel like if Andrew Yang was to like sit down with another candidate, you know, and you know they're going over policies, you know, he's already like the chosen VP. And like I feel like if he is the VP, you know, that would mean that the candidate has to have some type of interest in, you know what I mean, or has to be at least considering a UBI, and if Yang is the VP, I feel like he could talk them into it.
I heard that Biden does have like a soft spot for Yang.
He does, yeah. I remember they talked. I think after the first debate during the
So, and I could see it. Yang's a likable guy. He's not crazy. He's not like too like, you know, extreme. He's just a very logical, data-driven guy. And so the combination would be good. My concern about the Biden-Yang combo is that I don't know if Biden can hold up in the general election. Like he just he's just not the sharpest knife in the drawer, you know?
That's the thing with him and Sanders that I'm just like, a little too old to be doing this. Like I don't know if I can keep up. Like it's a really stressful job. Like not only are you the president, but you're the president of the United States.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got your hands in a lot of jars. Like you're doing just a lot of moving parts.
The job of the POTUS now is way harder, I think, than it was you know, when Kennedy was president or you know, George Washington or whatever. Like it's just a very complex world and we have really massive problems. And
we're everywhere. You know, like we're literally everywhere.
The whole world's kind of crazy right now. So, and they're looking to the U.S. to be at least be a rational kind of partner. So, okay, let me ask you this. So if you had to pick a Yang ticket where it's Yang and someone else, forget about who's president or vice president. Let's just say we could make anybody our vice president.
Yeah.
Who would you want that you think would have the best chance of beating Trump?
Yeah, I think if we're gonna beat Trump, like it would have to be a candidate that's gonna like really fire up like the Democratic base. You know what I mean? Like I saw that a lot with Sanders. You know, like I feel like people were a lot more fired up, you know, to go to the ballot box for him. You know what I mean? But at the same, I still think he can bring that energy in 2020, but I don't know if he could, but like we were talking, I don't know if he could like just stay for the whole ride with the job. I don't think he could.
But you think he could? You think he could win the on election day? He would be,
Yeah, I could
Bernie
see
would.
him doing that for sure.
And you think a Bernie Yang combo would do better than a Biden Yang combo in the general?
I feel like, yeah,
Because the Democrats.
But Biden's just kind of like disliked from the more active Democratic voters.
Yeah.
That progressive side, they're so fucking like they'll jump to the ballot box for Bernie. You know what I mean? Like they'll for Bernie or Warren. Like they're a lot. They're really active.
Bernie Yang, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe it's just because I'm in New York, and maybe that's just from like what I see.
Yeah.
But
Warren Yang, I would like because I don't know. I feel like Warren would help us with more women voters, but I don't know if that's true. Actually, maybe Bernie would do fine with women voters. Yeah, we know that Yang does not do great with women voters.
Nah, yeah, the Sanders, he kind of had some issues too. I remember in 2016 when it came to women voters. There were some. I don't remember what it was exactly, but there were kind of like some scandals and the whole bro culture of the, with the burners, kind of like turned off.
Oh, yeah. Let me show you something. Hold on. Where the heck is? Whoops. Where is it? Screen share. Yeah. Chrome tab. Boom. Hopefully this works. Oh no, I shared the wrong damn thing. 1 second.
Yeah.
Let me try this again. Hold on. Chrome tab. There it is. Share. Okay. Look, here's male and female, right? This gender thing.
Yeah.
Yang, 4% of men. So almost 1 out of every 20 are in the Yang gang.
Yeah.
But only 1 out of 50 females are in the Yang gang. So what do you think that's all about? Like I actually talked with Lacey and Jessica Canaday about this, but I was curious, what are your thoughts? Two guys talking about why we can't get the women supporters.
I think it's just because of the spaces that Yang is popular in. You know what I mean? Like, like the whole
Reddit.
Yeah, like
not
the
a
whole
lot of women on Reddit. Yeah.
Yeah, like that whole scene is just there's just not a lot of girls on there.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, and
yeah, that makes sense. Like Twitter too. I think if you look at the demographics of active Twitter use, it definitely biases for men.
Yeah, I mean, and even the women and even the girls who are like heavy, like they use Twitter a lot. I feel like they don't, they're not looking for Yang.
No. Yeah, they might not be even talking about politics on Twitter, right? Yeah. So, well, hopefully, the other option is even if we don't get the VP job, I mean, I wonder if he actually might have more impact as a Secretary of Labor than the Vice President. Who knows? Because, some VPs, like, I don't know, like, do you think Pence has a lot of influence?
I don't even know what Pence is doing.
he's just I
never hear of anything coming from Pence unless like Trump is involved somehow.
Yeah. So in a way, like if Biden were president and he made Yang his VP, I actually think Yang would have a lot of influence, partly because Biden was VP and knows how it's important for the VP to be engaged. If Bernie were president, I think, and he made Yang VP, I think Yang would be engaged because Bernie would be kind of, he needs some help, right? Energy-wise, right? But if Warren were president, I could see her sidelining Yang. Like if she made him his VP, I don't know. She might Pence him.
I mean, Warren seems a lot more reasonable than than Trump. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
You know, I definitely I remember Yang also mentioned that between the commercial breaks, you know, after the whole exchange between Warren and Yang, that he told her like, yo, you should really look into the numbers on this automation thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you know, and she told him that she'll look into it. You know, so I feel like if Yang was at her side and he was like, you know, I feel like she would listen and she would definitely take it into consideration. Yeah, probably yeah, probably a lot more than maybe Sanders. Sanders seems a little bit kind of dismissive sometimes.
Yeah, I actually think Biden would give Yang the most influence.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
And I think Biden could probably help us pick off a lot of the Obama Trump supporters, the ones that voted for Obama and switched to Trump. Maybe that's the combo.
That's such a weird demographic. How you go from Obama to Trump? That's kind of crazy for me. I mean, maybe they were just disappointed with how Obama did. It wasn't really.
I mean, I guess they voted for Obama, I would imagine, because they wanted change, hope and change, right?
Yeah.
And then they still felt after 8 years of Obama that while a lot of people have done well, their community were struggling. And Hillary was not speaking to them at all, was kind of talking down to them, was kind of comes across a little dismissive. And then her policies were like, oh, more free college. And so I'm not shocked that they went for Trump. You know, that many people went for Trump, but I wonder like who would be best to win them back. Maybe they'll automatically come back because Trump's been so nuts. I don't know.
Yeah, but I definitely don't think like just a moderate ticket on its own can beat Trump. Like you know, like
oh, you're worried that if it were Biden Yang, that the hardcore Democrats would stay home?
No. If it was like, so, you know, like if it was like, say like Biden and Harris, you know, I don't know how much I don't know how much excitement that would bring.
On Biden and Harris.
You know what I mean? Like if it was like a really like pretty moderate ticket.
Biden Harris would be terrible. Oh,
or
God.
Or I don't know, or
I mean Harris
or Klobuchar or something like that.
Yeah. They do say, oh yeah, Klobuchar and Biden would be basically, let's just don't do anything. Like let's just go back to the old days, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I don't see I feel like if Yang was the VP, it would drive a lot more enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Biden on his own, I don't see him, because a lot of people, I feel like if you're going from Obama to Trump, it's because you're looking for that change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're just
right.
You know, and if you're just getting Trump and then Biden, you know, and some other like moderate, you know, it's probably not going to look that appealing for you to switch sides, you know, this election. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like for the same reason that those voters didn't think Hillary was good enough for them. Yeah. And then you give them Biden, Klobuchar, it's like, well, that's kind of like the same stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like give them Clinton again. You know, like, you know, it's kind of like let's try this again. You know, it's not gonna, people really want to change.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Well, we've got a few minutes left. I want to see if anybody in the chat has any questions. So we'll give them some time to type in some questions. And while we're waiting for questions to come in, I guess, Jose, do you have any questions for me?
Any questions for you? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you watch the channel enough. Maybe you already know where I stand on most things.
Yeah, I definitely, like, because you update pretty regularly when all the stuff comes out. I'm like, oh, like I kind of know where this guy's at, and you know where you want us to be at. You know, which is fair. Like I feel like I agree with you on most things. We definitely should.
Oh well, let me ask you this: like, what's something where you've like, oh I watch Nurse for Yang, but I really disagree with Tom on that, or I see where he's coming from, but I just have a very different view. Is there anything where you're like, I don't agree with that guy, which is fine.
Nah, because you usually, I mean, we're both, you know, we're both for Yang. You know, we usually just go over like the polls, the betting odds, and stuff like that. And I don't know.
The biggest disagreements I've heard from
that people have with you,
is that I've become negative. that I
No, I don't think so at all. I think you're right. I think it's not terrible, but we should be doing a lot better. I feel like we should be a bit better. Like I get worried when I see these posts. I'm like, we still at 3%.
Yeah. All right, now we got some questions. They rolled in.
Yeah, what's up?
The Math Pack. Do you know anything about this political action committee?
Well, what is the Math Pack?
Let's see. Let's go Google that. Hold on. Let's share Chrome tab. Boom.
The Math Pack. Let me see what the chat says.
Let's see here.
What is Latino Magic?
What is
Puerto Rico as a state? If Puerto Rico wants to be a state, they should definitely be a state, and if not, then they should at least be able to vote for the primaries. What things?
I'm not finding anything about. This is about, the Super PAC. Look at this.
Oh, that
spend
thing.
Millions to back Yang. Interesting. Spending over $1 million to back Yang. The group called Math Pack is being run by Operative Will Haler. Allow the movement behind Yang to catch up to elected officials who will transfer years of war chests to their presidential campaigns. I am 1,000% for whatever we need to do.
We need that. We need that.
Like maybe when we started, we were like, oh no packs. But hey, this is the game we're playing. You got literally a billionaire spending $50 million in Steyer, right? Then you've got Warren, who had all of her money that she raised when she was a senator. Like, this is until we have freedom dollars, like the democracy dollars, then we need to use legal means, and super PACs are legal.
Everybody. Yeah, the Sanders and Warren both have PACs as well. I think everybody has. Yeah, it's completely fair. I don't.
I'll be like, dude, back up that truck, get that money in there. Let's get on Monday Night Football. Let's do this.
Must help us out, man.
All right, Anime Fan wants to know, what do you think Yang could do to get more exposure in the Latin community?
We need more people doing the work that the guys over at Yang Gang Translations are doing. Like I really do feel. When you go to the effort of translating it, and going through all of that work, I think that does a lot, and then I guess the people the immigrants who are can vote legally, who've been here and who vote, when you're able to get to them on their on their way of thinking, language, it goes a long way for sure.
Here's a related question. Do you think he should go on Spanish-speaking TV networks or events and stuff like that?
TV work, but Univision and stuff. I don't even. If they're gonna translate for him, it's not gonna do any good if he just goes there speaking English. I promise you.
Yeah, he's got to do a crash course in Spanish, I guess, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I think the fact that he's a son of immigrants does something. Of course, Asian Americans and Latino Americans, we have, it's two different communities. We have a lot of our own separate issues, but I feel like we connect on a lot of similar things too. So I feel like that helps. Yeah. Yeah.
You make a good point. Like, do you see a lot of Spanish language content for Bernie and Warren?
I see a lot for Bernie. For
really?
For any other candidate, I don't think I've seen.
You do see a lot for Bernie.
Yeah, for Bernie, yeah, I've definitely seen stuff for Bernie.
I wonder if we spent a lot of money, and I'm sure the campaign's thinking about this, on the Spanish stuff. Like maybe we grab that Spanish vote because Buttigieg and Harris and Warren are not doing as much, right?
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I don't even think, even if they were to translate it into Spanish, I don't see them doing that well. I think Yang would do a better job at.
Yeah, he's got the message. He just needs to deliver it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. He has the message that we like.
Cool. Let's see. Do you think celebs like Killer Mike
Killer Mike, T.I., and Sean King are
Ron King are pulling the black voters to Bernie.
Hello with that
I
demographic.
don't know.
I don't think. I mean, Killer Mike and T.I. definitely have. They're definitely like a voice for the black community, especially in the South. But I don't know if because Biden is doing like pretty fucking well in the South with black voters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't see T.I. and Killer Mike necessarily gobbling all the black voters up, but I could, it probably has some influence.
A related question about why Yang isn't doing more for the black vote. I did an interview with Jermaine Johnson, who's runs the Yang South Carolina office, and we spent a lot of time talking about the black vote. And what he said was one of the things about Yang is his communication style really translates well on podcasts, on long YouTube interviews.
Yeah.
But it needs to be kind of localized for different regions. And like in South Carolina, like you can't do like a Joe Rogan style approach. And so I think that's something that they know. And that's why Jermaine's out there making the pitch on behalf as a like a surrogate. But I'm hopeful, actually. I think if Yang pulls off a surprise, I think South Carolina might be one where we do pretty well, but we'll see. I mean, the polls are weak in South Carolina at the moment, but I don't think the folks in South Carolina are paying attention enough. Like, I think they're still waiting to kind of make their pick. And that's why Biden is doing so well there. It's not because they love Biden. It's just like they know him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who's the best Latino celebrity to endorse Yang?
Ooh, a Latino celebrity. Who do I think of off the top? I think Jennifer Lopez. I think Cardi B. I remember she did it. I remember she did an interview with Bernie Sanders. I don't think that had much impact though. A Latino celebrity. Who do we have that would do anything that could really like change or like have an impact? I don't know.
Some people are saying Ricky Martin. Isn't he? It's maybe for the older Spanish crowd.
No, we all know Ricky Martin.
you know Ricky?
Yeah,
Pitbull?
we all know Ricky Martin.
Is Pitbull
He's
Hispanic?
Cuban. Yeah, he's Cuban.
No, that'll be tough. That'll be tough to get the Cubans.
Nah, just give up on them, man.
Gabriel Iglesias? I didn't know there was a Gabriel.
Oh yeah, Gabriel Iglesias. I feel like he follows me on Twitter, actually.
Who's Gabriel Iglesias? You mean Enrique Iglesias?
No. The Gabriel Iglesias. He's a comedian. He's a Mexican American comedian.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, some people are saying George Lopez. Didn't he get in trouble? Did George get in trouble for something? Or maybe
George Lopez fucking hates Trump. He talks so much shit about Trump.
Oh, okay. maybe he get in the Yang Gang then. Carlos Mencia, he got into trouble, right? Didn't he rip off some people's jokes or something?
That name sounds familiar.
I think Joe Rogan was talking about him ripping off people's jokes. But at any rate, we'll take, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, man. We'll take all the endorsements we can get.
Of course. All those, they'll all do something, I promise. I feel like if any of the people just that were mentioned just now, if they were to even like speak his name, we would all be talking about it for sure. Like word gets fast in our community. Word gets around fast.
Oh, someone's saying Sofia Vergara.
Oh, Sofia Vergara. I don't know. We don't really talk about her that much. Yeah. I don't see her like she's not in our conversation.
I think Jennifer Lopez would be great.
Jennifer Lopez, yeah. My God. Our community, we still follow everything she does to this day.
She's still Jenny from the block, you know?
She's still Jenny from
real.
the block. Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, is there anything else, Jose, that you wanted to share with the audience or let people know? I mean, obviously they should follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, that would be much appreciated.
Yeah. What else would you like them to do?
I just want everybody to get out on the street, canvas, get together with your local Yang Gang, tell your friends, tell your family, please. Like everybody, your coworkers, yeah, get in touch with your local Yang Gang, Canvas, Text Bank. Text Bank is really easy. Yeah, I just want to, I think we should all put in a lot more work.
Now, let me ask you this before we wrap up. If you had to give, and I can clipify this, if you had to explain to someone who's never heard of Yang why they should support him, but do you, Jose, do you speak Spanish?
Yeah, I mean,
or is it sort of like it's like my Chinese.
It's like how Spanish is like.
But your Spanish, English is your first language?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to try a little Spanish elevator pitch for Yang, or do you want to do that another time?
Let me see. Well, I'm trying to think about what I would say.
It's hard. It's hard when it's not your first language, right? Because you don't have like the
I speak it every day, especially at work, with customers and stuff. But I don't really talk politics in Spanish.
Yeah,
I'll say something.
all right, go ahead.
I'll say something. Yo quiero que todo, por favor, buscan Andrew Yang. Él te quiere dar dinero y te va a ayudar. Gracias.
Gracias. I got that part. I got that last part. No problem. That's awesome, Jose. This is a perfect sign of, like, on the one hand, I know my mom gives me a lot of crap for my terrible Chinese, but on the other hand, like, that's like the melting pot, man. That's the assimilation. Yeah. Like, like we live in America, like English is the dominant language. So hopefully you retained a lot of the Dominican culture and food and traditions.
Oh man, I used to go to DR like every summer when I was younger. So I definitely I feel like I'm pretty good.
You'll keep it real.
Yeah, it's not a stranger to me. It's not a stranger to me.
Oh, someone is saying Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande, she's Italian American, I think. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, wrong. Close.
But we'll still take it. We'll still take her endorsement.
I would not be mad if she decided to endorse it.
You'd be all right with her. All right. Well, thank you, Jose. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
I appreciate you too.
Yeah, let's keep fighting, man. Let's get this guy in the White House.
Yeah, I appreciate your work so much, man. Thank you.
Hey, and thanks to you, buddy. Keep it real. Peace.
Take care.